Coming up today on the show, we're going to talk about some latest Disney news. And if you could go back in time to any point in Walt Disney World's history, what time would you choose? We're going to talk about that today on Traveling with the Mouse. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Traveling with the Mouse, episode number 488. My name is Adam. I am your host today, and I am joined by John.
Your attention, please. We ask that all honorary bugs remain so the beetles, maggots, and cockroaches may exit safely.
Another tough to be a bug, hey?
Yes.
A couple more days on that one.
I think this is our last episode.
For tough to be a bug. I guess that's why you had to get it in. Makes sense.
It's today. As a matter of fact, just today is the last day. That's why I had to get it in.
So are you there marathoning it right now, all day?
Unfortunately, no. But unfortunately, I say.
Yeah. I feel bad for the folks who are going to, because someone's going to.
Yeah, right? I didn't make good on my what I was talking about, how we needed to get you there one last time and hold you up to hold your back against the seat for us so you can get one last stab.
Now, if you actually did that to somebody, would you draw blood if you
force somebody held them down?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's that sharp. I don't even know what they poke you with, to be honest with you. I never really looked, but
it's a syringe.
Is that what it is? They're dosing you with something to keep you going during your trip.
Yes.
I know James, he comes back, he says, just wants to do nothing. He's like, they keep you going while you're there. I feel like they must put something in the air. What he says, they might. I don't know. They do put smells out there. They have phantom, they have made up smells that they put out there. I guess I could have said, by the way, at the end of that, it said, at this time, gather up your personal belongings and take your small grubs by their grubby little hands as you exit. Thank you.
Well,
since it's the last time.
Kids, right. My kids usually have grubby hands, that's for sure.
Okay. What is that supposed to mean?
It means they're boys. They're just naturally dirty all the time.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I don't know. As I seem to recall, you were a relatively clean kid. You liked keeping yourself clean, if I remember right, as a baby.
He's very clean. Who's that little old man?
Okay.
He's very clean. Anyway.
It's not very cold. That's what I think.
Yeah. So I was clean to you? Well, that's good to know.
I'm just saying, I just seem to remember, obviously I was a few years older than you. I seem to remember when you were, in the toddler phase or whatever, you didn't like getting your hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, that's a good segue. Speaking of dirty things, let's talk about Epic Universe.
Oh, that's a low blow.
Since I have to talk about it.
That's a low. You don't have to talk about it. No one's forcing you. I don't see any gun to your head at the moment.
Well, you don't see what's just off camera. Anyway. Yes, the powers that be want me to talk about Epic Universe.
Who's that?
No, I don't know.
We have powers that be? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. You're getting paid?
Exactly. All right, but single day tickets prices were released. I thought it was interesting to see. You can't buy single day tickets for the first week and a half or whatever it was until June 1st.
Yeah. It's really it's like barely over a week.
Right. But those 3-day ticket is what they sold for people coming. So they're basically forcing people, if they want to see Epic Universe, they got to buy a 3-day ticket for the first week. So if you're going to Disney, go Memorial Day because it's going to be empty.
Maybe. We don't know that for sure. Every time we've thought something was going to be a certain way, it turned out not to be because everybody thinks that way. It's like, oh, it's going to be not busy, so we're going to go there.
Yeah. Well,
it's like everybody thinks the opposite.
People are going to be there for 3 days, so.
They're having, AP can't go in, right? They have to buy a single day ticket for that.
I think so.
I think that's correct.
That was, yes. I'm not as familiar with Universal, so.
You need to come over to the dark side and, just give the dark side a chance.
I'm going to hold out as long as I can.
It'll be kind of like you, like when Luke went in the cave. That'd be you.
Right. I'm just going to see myself. Or when Ray went into the cave.
Yeah, or Ray, with either one. Yeah.
You see Dark Ray in the cave. Yes. Well, the ticket range is 164 to 189 per person for the summer. And of course, holiday season, it really spikes up to basically 199. So they're trying to
So how does
outdo
that
Disney with
compare?
their prices. I think it's about the same as Disney's or Magic Kingdoms in general. Single day tickets.
And I feel like this is, when it comes to Universal, this is probably just going to be an introductory price, to be honest. I think over time they're probably not going to charge as much.
Well, I mean, again, the holidays are how many months away? Over 6 months
Yeah,
away, and
but
they're
I
going to
know,
charge
but
$200 a day.
that's still within their first year of operation. Yes.
So you don't think they're going to go up from there?
Honestly, don't.
Okay, I find that
We'll
hard to
see.
believe.
Are you looking at what the single day ticket is for the other parks at the moment?
No, not for the other Universal parks.
Yes. You
No,
didn't
no.
pull that for reference?
Mm-mm. I'm looking at Disney's though. I was just going to see what Magic Kingdom's was. So while you're doing that, Magic Kingdom is actually going to be cheaper than Epic Universe.
Well, they have to be.
It's 154 to 159 during the end of May. No, I'm
Well,
wrong. That's Animal Kingdom. So they were doing the cheapest day. Actually, Disney just shows the cheapest park ticket that you can buy, which is Animal Kingdom.
So the
So,
cheapest 1 day ticket.
right. So forget everything I just said. And
So I'm just gonna, just for kicks, I'm gonna look in the same time frame as when Epic opens.
so let me see what opening day of Epic is for Magic Kingdom. It's 184. So Magic Kingdom is higher than Epic Universe. Go figure. That's funny to me.
Okay, so a 1 day base dated ticket for an adult, which the adult and the, just much like Disney, the adult and the child is only like $5 difference. 1 day at Universal Studios or Islands of Adventure is $168.06, and I believe that's before taxes. I don't know if that's Disney doesn't include taxes either, though, right? So
No, they don't.
that's on May the 24th is the day I chose. Just I figured I would choose a weekend that Epic Universe is going to be open, just to see what that was going to cost them. So if you go during the week, obviously it goes down a little bit. So if you went middle of the week, it's going to be right at 150. It's 148.18 for those parks.
So Disney's still more even for Animal Kingdom than Universal for a single day
On a
ticket.
regular day?
Yeah, it looks like it.
That's what I'm saying. They're more in general because, let's just be honest, the average Disney fan lets them get away with it. So
Right.
that's the main reason they're more in. Universal probably has to do it a little bit lower because they're not as big and as well known or has as many years under their belt and things like that. And they kind of appeal to two different audiences, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I think there is a audience that likes both. Kind of like me. I actually like
Sure.
both.
Yeah, a lot of people do, especially locals. They like both, but I am strictly loyal to Disney. Sorry.
You're part of the resistance.
Yes, see, somebody's got to be.
You're going to end up going.
Rise of the Resistance.
I fully expect you to be critical, though.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Even though you may not want to be.
You know I'm going to be anyway, just because.
I know you're going to be.
Even if I like it.
You're not going to be as bad as your brother, but you're going to be critical.
Yeah, apparently not, but.
Well, I did notice that Mitch was pointing out some of the, I think he and his wife were pointing out some of the similarities they found, I think, to Disney.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like the Brown Derby hat.
I mean, some of that stuff could be a stretch. I don't remember. I'd have to go see it again, I guess. I have to take what they took into account and then take it into account for myself.
Sure. You will be unbiased is what you're saying.
I always call it like I see it. I don't have a slant.
Got it.
One way or the other. That's what I said there about service, though. Service is one of those things that Disney kind of raised the bar. Now everybody does what they do. So,
Right. Well,
there's a time period when they were heads above everyone else.
it's true. Yeah. It was, well, I know it's
But they raised the standard.
We always go on these segues. I shouldn't do it.
We're riding another segue?
Yes. We're taking a Segway tour. I watched several retro WDW videos they've posted lately. They posted more recently
Oh yeah.
where they basically buy people's old 8 millimeter films from the 70s when they went to Disney World and then
Did they
restore
buy
them.
it?
Yeah, they'll buy them off eBay and stuff. Yeah, they'll buy them and restore them, or people donate them too. I mean, but they said,
I had no idea they purchased any. I thought they
yeah,
just had
yeah.
people. I thought they were in a position where people came to them with their
Well, they
footage just to
do
be.
for some, but for others, they do buy them off eBay.
Mm.
Like people say, oh, there's 8 millimeter film of Disney and SeaWorld from 1974 or something, and they'll buy it. But anyway, I was thinking about if you were there, and that's kind of what led to what we're going to talk about later. But
Okay.
if you were there in the 70s, you would have been pretty amazed seeing monorails and some of the technology that
Yeah,
Disney
some of the things
had.
we take for granted were pretty
Yeah,
advanced whenever they first came out. Just think
yeah,
of Pirates
definitely.
and Haunted Mansion at the time they came out originally.
Right.
Pretty
Yeah,
advanced. Think about it.
right. And I noticed most of these vacation videos that people chose to film, Jungle Cruise is one of the main things that is on like all of them. People love Jungle Cruise. One, because it's outside and you could probably film in the daylight, whereas darker rides, you probably couldn't see anything in those old cameras. But Jungle Cruise, it must have been pretty impressive for most people to see back then.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you think of Disney and how they started doing things like in Disney World, at least anyway, things like Rise and Ratatouille, and Universal's had Spider-Man since 1999, and
Right.
that's basically the same technology,
Yeah.
pretty close to it.
Yeah. That's
So,
true. Right on. But
well, of
enough
course,
about them.
yeah, but I'm just saying, of course, Disney also did it earlier, but they just never brought it to the States for some reason. I don't understand why that is, but it's like when it comes to Disney, the technology that they use abroad always comes to the States like 30 years later or something.
Right.
So
Well,
we're probably
I
we're
mean,
not going to get some of this stuff you see in Tokyo or all that stuff. We're not going to get that for a very long time. They'll eventually get it,
we're at retirement age
assuming a meteorite hasn't hit the Earth.
on episode 1500 of Traveling with the Mouse. Yes. Right, exactly. Well, let's get back to Disney since this is traveling with the mouse and not traveling with the rat. I don't know what that
Huh?
means. I don't know. What that
I
means.
don't know what that's supposed to mean either.
I don't know. Supposed to be another shot at Universal.
I'm pretty sure our tagline was.
A tribute to all of our travels, but mostly Disney.
Yes.
So let's get back to Disney.
And that's about to be extinct too.
Disney?
No, that line got kind of where we
Oh, yes.
originated
Oh,
from.
yes. In the
Where it
Commonwealth.
originated from anyway.
Yes. Disney made a change to the annual pass payment structure. This is mostly for Florida residents. I think it's only for Florida residents because they're the only ones that have the payment option. But they lowered the down payment, but increased the monthly payment. So lower threshold to get in, but higher monthly
So
payment.
as far as what they get, they didn't change a thing. Just, over a longer period of time instead of upfront.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Is what it sounds like.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing in terms of like,
Some people could find it appealing.
yeah,
Well, I mean, you could look at it this way. You could always buy your annual pass, right, with a credit card that allows you to do one of those payment plans, and that's kind of the same thing.
yeah, right.
And I mean, is it
So,
not?
yeah. But for all of the annual pass options for Florida residents, the down payment was $205, and now it's $99, and then the monthly payment kind of scales up over that. The difference of that, I guess.
What do
So,
you mean it scales up? Like it doesn't?
so
It's not
like,
consistent. It's not the same every month. What?
well, no, I meant like it's higher than it was because of the lower down payment, I
But it
guess.
doesn't. It doesn't tell you in that particular story what the
No, it does.
monthly.
Yeah. So in Credit Pass, for example, the highest one, $15.49 per year, $205 was the down payment. It's now $99. The monthly payment used to be $121. Now it's $130.
Oh, it didn't go up that much for as much as they lowered the initial. So
Yeah.
maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. So was it $9?
Well, the
So-
$9 for the monthly, right? And
But
they
I
lowered
guess
the.
it's about $106 difference. So it's
Yeah, I guess
sort of
it's close
adds
to the
up.
same.
I guess it sort of
It
adds
sort
up.
of does because that's 108 the other way around, right? So
Yeah.
Disney got a $2 advantage.
Yeah. Somehow they ended up with $2 more. I don't know. Interesting. Over the course of a year, unless maybe
It's
the
all in
last
how you
payment.
present it. That's all in how you
Yeah.
present it.
Maybe the last payment's lower. I don't know. Anyway, Pixie Dust Pass is only $469. It was same down payment. Now it's $99. It was $25 a month, and now it's $34. Gosh, if you're a Florida resident, I mean, $88 a month for your sorcerer pass. That's not bad. It's only
No.
a few blackout dates. It's not bad at all. Anyway,
Depending on
so
how often you actually go.
right, exactly. Hey, but if you live within a couple hours, I mean, I'd go all the time.
Well, yeah,
So
you would at least at first.
yeah, I think I would go a lot. Anyway,
We'll see. Well, I mean,
depends on where.
I say we'll see. I
Yeah.
don't know that we'll see. If we ever do, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Another cool story that we just missed last week was the sneak peek that they showed of how the door coaster is going to load passengers from the loading station to like the track. That looked cool. Did you watch that video?
No, I guess I have. I must have missed that one.
He came out like right after we recorded last week. So,
Oh, that might be why I missed it.
so it's, as you know, it's a suspended coaster, and they had like this little rendering of what it's going to be like. So you load, and then there's like this huge lift. Like you go straight up vertical, and then it connects you to the track above it. Like it looks like it's going to be like 20 feet above you. So it looks really cool how it's going to work.
Oh,
So
I see what you're talking about. It's in black and white.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it shows like literally the track goes straight up, and then it connects to the almost like, the track switch of Everest maybe, but not it doesn't rotate, it just takes you straight up. So it's kind of cool. And the model, they already showed you like the model of it at D23. So it just kind of shows you it's basically this one big warehouse with a lot of looping in back and forth, of the
Pretty much like what happened in the
doors.
movie.
Yeah. So it'll be a cool coaster.
I'm sure there'll be some screens involved.
Probably.
Don't you think?
Hopefully there'll be some real props too, though. That'd be cool, like doors.
I mean,
like
there
going
would be.
for-
But
Yeah,
you know
being-
good well, with something the way this is laid out, there's got to be some digital imagery involved. It's got to be.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, but it looks like it's going to be just one giant room where the coaster kind of goes back and forth. So looks cool. It's going to be a fun ride. Another one that we just missed last week was some more updates to the Disney Starlight Parade floats, which I'm just waiting on them to announce a date for this because I'm wanting to see it this summer, hopefully. So hoping it's debuts before July 4th. That would be nice. But they revealed like the Coco float, what it's going to look like. I think that's going to be awesome at night. Coco looks so cool, the movie, that I can imagine the float is going to look as visually appealing.
Can you believe it's been 9 years coming this year for that movie?
Yeah, it's hard
It
to
was like
believe.
November of 16, and
Yeah.
it still doesn't really have a good representation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Golly.
they're present in the parks. That's good. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, it deserved something more, I think, personally. But
Yeah. So let's see. The Cars attraction, there was some news about that. Disney confirmed that it will be a track system. I'm assuming like Test Track.
I was going to say,
And
like the other cars.
Radio Springs Racers.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like a video that came out showing how the vehicle will look and steer. It's kind of like an off-road looking vehicle.
Yeah, because that ride system has proven to be so reliable over the years. There's no reason not to continue with it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Maybe they found a way to make it look better, but
I mean, because if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Radiator Springs Racers have its fair share of issues? I think so.
yeah,
I know
I
Test
don't.
Track does. I know
Right,
Test Track has since day one.
you don't hear about it as much as
Yeah.
Test Track. Right, we also don't hear
Well,
about Disney
who
as much.
knows? Once Test Track opens this year, maybe it'll be for the better. Maybe it'll have improved. Well, fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
but
Only
some
took
people
25 years.
right. Well, we'll see if it works better. Test Track 3.0. But on that, the same video, they show like a ride layout. Kind of looks like Radiator Springs Racer's layout, though, to me. But
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of an East Coast version of it.
right, but just slightly different theme to it, but the same
Right.
layout, probably. Maybe
I think it's
that would
got to be
suck.
similar. I mean, you got to think it's got to be similar.
Yeah, but it does look like it's going to, have maybe an indoor portion and an outdoor portion. So
Much like Radiator Springs Racers.
yeah, and Test Track. So there you go. I'm still not like super excited about this replacing Rivers of America, but
Well, that's happening.
oh well. I'm not like, oh, I can't wait for another Test Track like ride. But
They haven't given a closure date for the Mark. I mean, not the Mark Twain. The
Lily Bell.
yeah, the Lily Bell
No, not yet, but I'm sure it's coming soon.
to a theater near you.
Speaking of coming soon, there's a couple of things to talk about. Roaming droids are coming to Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Finally, after how many years of them talking about it?
It's coming up on 6.
Yeah. It just said sometime this year, I guess.
I remember seeing here recently where TPM Vids did how they do the fails. They actually had those free roaming droids that they've already put out there before, and those the type fails that they've had. Are these going to be the ones that have like the cast members with almost like Nintendo controllers like nearby that are
Yeah,
operating them?
maybe. Maybe they'll be hiding in the distant, like, offside.
But they have seen some. I had some incidents where they failed. Like they're out there. You can just go search for the
Right.
videos.
But isn't there, like, people are gonna, like, mess with them and do stupid stuff at some point,
I would
too?
hope not.
Somebody's going to. It's just a matter of time.
You mean in a world where people go to the bathroom in a queue line and jump out
Right.
of a boat to grab fruit? Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, in this world, yeah. So, that's a good segue into going back to a different time, but anyway, there's one other story I was gonna talk about. The other news story that came out just after last week when we talked about it. Did we talk about the Mandalorian update to, Smuggler's Run? Did we talk about that last week?
I don't think we did actually.
Okay. They mentioned it would be May 22nd, 2026. So next year, a whole year away from getting a new,
That's strange.
I guess, mission for Smuggler's Run.
So is that also when they plan on reviving The Mandalorian on Disney Plus again? Is at that point?
No, I think isn't there a movie coming out? The Grogu Mandalorian movie? Is that
Oh,
why?
is
I
there?
think that's why they're, to
Oh.
promote the movie, they're doing it.
I was gonna say, at this point, if they keep waiting, Pedro Pascal's gonna be like having a cane or something by the time they finish doing stuff with this.
He's just lending his voice anyway. That's all he's doing. If he's even doing that still.
Are you sure? Because he was in it originally, wasn't he? They
Well,
actually
yeah,
took
he
it
was.
to.
But the last season he was not in the suit. He just
Okay.
did the voice. Yeah, that's what he said. Because he's big stuff now.
Yeah. He's a
So,
TikTok sensation.
yeah. But he doesn't do stuff that's not where you don't see his beautiful face
Right.
anymore. So.
I always think of the scene that people keep making stuff up with he and Nicolas Cage in the car. We always do it to the Make Your Own Kind of Music by the Mamas and the Papas, right? He's like,
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, the Mandalorian Grogu movie is coming out, and it says the update to Smuggler's Run will debut when the movie premieres, I guess.
okay,
So, yeah,
there you go.
that's to look
Probably going to
forward to.
shoot
At
that
least,
simultaneously.
yeah. So no more coaxium anymore? Are we going to be done with that?
So are they saying it's an update, or it's just like an update, and that's part of it's going to be worked into the storyline, the current storyline?
They basically said they're telling the story of the movie in multiple ways, and it's coming to the parks via Smuggler's Run with a new mission, I guess.
Well, I guess they're gonna kick Hondo out.
Maybe. That'd be cool if they had a Mandalorian
Right.
animatronic. Just put him over the same mannerisms. Anyway, that'd be cool. No? All right. So let's segue into what we were going to talk about. That was the news, but I teased it at the beginning of the episode, and yeah, watching some of those old videos got me thinking about, going back in time. If you could visit
Back to the Future. No.
Yeah. So I thought about this too. If we could go back in time, you and I probably would pick different years. If we could pick any
If I chose my
time
own,
period. Yeah. Don't you think?
it's a tough one. In my case, it would probably have to be back at one of Epcot's peak years. That's what I would choose.
Funny you say peak years. That's interesting. You use that terminology. So I asked AI, our friend AI, just AI in general.
Well, I'd say that because it means different things to different people.
Right. Well, I asked ChatGPT's most recent version to predict what ours would be, basically, or to suggest, like, based on what it knows about us, what years we would pick and why. So it gives a bunch of different reasons. So since Jason's not here, I'll start with his. What do you think his was?
His is probably something more modern.
Yes. I think it would be pretty obvious. I mean,
2019.
yes, exactly.
No, okay. I
So
was like very
why?
specific. I think he's pretty much mentioned that a lot about the pre-COVID era
Yes.
and first year that he did the challenge. A
Yep.
lot of challenges, actually.
The
Matter of
ride.
fact.
Well, yeah, I was part of that was the one where he came one short, but he completed every ride in Parkeology that year. And so that was one of the main reasons, but also Riviera opened that year. Wasn't very late though.
Skyliner?
Skyliner, yes, was there. And FastPass Plus, which we had talked about, I think was probably our favorite, or at least Jason's probably said it's his favorite of all of them. And if you go in December, back to December of that year,
Rise
was open. Galaxy's Edge had just opened. It says Flight of Passage is still fresh. Toy Story Land is up and running, and no pandemic era limitations yet.
and FastPass Plus.
Yep, exactly. So it says 2019 was the height of FastPass Plus era, letting Jason flex those planning muscles and beat those standby crowds like nobody's business.
Kind of sounds like Jason.
Yeah.
I would say.
The must-dos for when he goes back to 2019, stay at Riviera when it first opened.
Okay.
So you can be one of the first to ever stay there.
Okay.
Rise of the Resistance, Flight of Passage, Slinky Dog Dash, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway hadn't opened yet, but it was about to open. I don't know why I mentioned that.
Yeah, it wasn't open yet. It's got bad information.
Well, no, it said about to open.
Oh, well. What does that matter? It didn't open that year, though.
Right, yeah. It was like the day before everything shut down.
Exactly.
The week before.
It's like Runaway shut everything down.
Yeah, exactly. So where should he eat and drink? Says Topolino's, of course, Nomad Lounge, Baseline Tap House, and La Cava. So clearly
it does remember some. What all did you feed this thing?
Not a ton, but I did I did give it a few, like, backstory things of, like, history of when we first went and stuff, that kind of thing.
Okay, so that kind of summarizes that.
Also, VIP tours and special after-hours events were available during that time. Definitely worth it for Jason's style. So, obviously, it remembered
Well,
our
it sounds like
VIP
there's gonna be a
episode.
lot of money spent in that particular,
Yeah,
uh,
well, not as much as he's
fantasy.
been today, that's for sure. Because FastPass Plus was free,
That's true.
so
That really only adds in the grand scheme of what he would spend, it only adds a couple $100, right?
right.
Anyway.
So, I'm obviously a little bit different. So, I do have, like, the nostalgia for the past, but I also like the current day to some degree. So, what do you think it
Hmm.
chose for me? Because I
That's weird. That's a tough
I
one. You're
was
actually
like,
a tough one to
okay.
call.
And again, this isn't like you're gonna go back there forever. It's like if you could go back and visit for, like, a
I'm
day.
gonna say I'm gonna say you're gonna be somewhere around 2010 or so.
Okay. It was a little bit before that.
A
It
little bit before that?
suggested it suggested I should go in the year 2000.
Oh, well, it
That's
was
what it
way before
suggested.
that.
Yeah. When I think about it, if I chose 2010, you would just be you'd be paying a little bit more than obviously the year 2000, but you wouldn't be getting a ton of new stuff between 2000 and 2010, right? It wasn't a whole lot of change in that decade.
Um, well, let's see. In that decade, okay, Mission Space opened after that.
Sure,
Expedition Everest opened after that.
sure. Two rides that I'm not super crazy about.
Stitch was not there yet.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you're really selling me on 2010. Like, so
Oh,
here's what it says why I should choose 2000. The Millennium Magic. So
okay.
it says the year 2000 is a sweet spot between the nostalgia of growing up, like for me, and the progress of today. What's changed? Epcot still had some classic charm, like Spaceship Earth narration by Jeremy Irons. Test Track was brand new. Magic Kingdom retained much of its original charm, but with some updated thrills sprinkled in.
Mhm.
Okay. And it says best of both worlds. So the original paper fast pass system was in effect by then. You'd be able to master that in no time. Spontaneity was still possible, but planning was rewarded. And it
It's true
says,
about that era.
yeah, it says Polynesian Contemporary Grand Floridian, all three deluxe resorts still affordable enough to enjoy, plus the monorail and electric water pageant unchanged from your nostalgic memories.
Not entirely true. It's the water pageant is actually the same as it is right now
Yeah.
in the year 2000.
Which
Prior to
my
97, though, it was different.
Right. Well, I think it was 96 when it actually changed to what it is today, but
Is that prior to 97?
yes. But I'm saying I love that version, is what I'm saying. So for me, even though I remember the previous version, the version that's there today is the one I prefer. So that's just me.
You preferred the one with the IP music.
Right. I do actually. The Little Mermaid stuff and everything is actually, I do like that one a lot. It's got good music. But okay, so this is interesting. I have to look this up. Was California Grill open in 2000? Like the current California Grill? Because it says restaurants like California Grill were already top tier, offering fine dining experiences.
I don't remember when the name changed, but I think it might have still been one of the other names it was
Like,
prior, like Top of the World or something like that.
yeah, I'm curious. So I have to look that up to see exactly when it switched. But according to this, it says it was already a top tier restaurant. Epcot Food and Wine Festival was relatively new and special. So I'm like, okay, another foodie thing that I could enjoy. And then it says I should stay at the Polynesian because it's the nostalgic favorite or the contemporary. So yeah, I would take that. And then it says obviously Test Track would be the fun new attraction, and Splash Mountain in its peak era, as well as Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster being fairly new, and the monorail loop for a nostalgia tour. Interesting that I put that in there. Okay. Yeah, it says I should go to California Grill, Ohana, Rose and Crown, and Santa and Hell, and La Cava del Tequila's predecessor in the Mexico Pavilion. Interesting. All right. Not quite the same, but all right.
Yeah.
The last thing for me was something special to enjoy is the Millennium Celebration fireworks and Illuminations 2000.
In the
So,
year 2000.
right. So that was mine. I was like, okay, I could see that. I would go back to that year just to see it. I mean, that'd be interesting.
I really enjoyed the Reflections of Earth show once they
Yeah.
changed it. I don't know. It was
I'm
just
not sure
always,
if
it still is one of
Millennium
my favorites.
was the Millennium version different. I don't know. That's how it made it sound like there was, but
No. It's not really. It's basically the same thing. About the only thing that might have been a little bit different might have been the Tapestry of Dreams parade that they did prior to it. That would have been a little different.
maybe.
They had two different names. I can't remember which came first. Tapestry of Nations and then Tapestry of Dreams. But it was basically like a little
Mm.
short parade that they did prior to the show.
I see.
So,
All right. So, what about you? What do you think it shows for you?
when you were going through these other ones, I got to thinking in my head, I'm like, there's a couple of different eras that I could be put in. Because I've talked before about Epcot being at its peak, in my opinion, like overall. Obviously, there were some things that still had gone away at that point, but prior to the 94 change,
Yep.
I've also talked about that time period that they just picked for you actually around 2000 or so. I've talked about that time period being one of the more fun times because that was
Yeah.
some of my first trips as an adult.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it probably landed on early 90s just because of the Epcot stuff that I've talked about before. I just don't know which year exactly. Maybe 93.
You are 100% right.
Oh,
1993.
okay. There we go. I just figured if you input all the stuff that we've talked about before, I figured it could potentially do that. Yes.
Well, a lot of it
I'm
did
all
on
right.
its own, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because some of what it said, I was like, okay, it definitely knows what we talk about.
Talk about? Yeah.
Because it says peak original Epcot is the main reason. Horizons is still thriving.
Yep. There you go.
The entire future row feels like an optimistic glimpse of the future with classic rides like Horizon, World of Motion, Journey to Imagination with Dreamfinder and Figment, and Universal Energy, the original Universal Energy running strong. And
Oh,
the
okay.
second reason for you to go back to 1993, it says laid back spontaneity. There were no complicated reservations, Genie Plus nonsense, or planning required months in advance. John can just stroll in and enjoy a low stress experience.
Yeah. I will say to kind
Yeah.
of put a point on that, that's my favorite Epcot era. I think the Studios era that I like the most came about 5 years later, though, or after, let's say,
When
after
Rockin' opened
Tower had been established and Rockin'
Sunset
had been
Boulevard.
added. Yeah,
Yeah, right. Sunset
that was
Boulevard
probably my
era.
favorite Studios era. So I have different eras that are favorite. Magic Kingdom, it's had plenty of changes over the years. It's hard to pick just one era that's been good for it, I should say. But
Yeah. I mean, if we're just talking Magic Kingdom,
Animal
I'd
Kingdom was
love to go
probably
back.
in a good era.
I would probably pick like 1973 or 4 to go back because Pirates would be there by then. Or 75, right when Space Mountain opened,
Hmm.
to like get the best of like really old school Magic
Well, if you want to
Kingdom.
get the best of it, you're going to have to go past 1980, right? So, because
Big
Thunder's there.
Thunder, right? So but if you really want the super old Magic Kingdom, mid 70s is probably like where I would choose just because there'd be some better stuff open by mid-70s than opening day.
I feel like a lot of their original stuff was somewhat still intact in the mid-80s, though. So and you had these
Yeah.
additions that I'm talking about on top of that. So that's
Some good
probably a
ones.
good time period for Magic Kingdom, truthfully, because you
So
got some of the
actually
original stuff still going, but then
1980s.
you have additions like Space Mountain and Big Thunder.
Yeah.
So maybe around 85-ish,
Mm.
I think would be a good
It
time period.
just for Magic
If
Kingdom.
if you had Wings was still there.
When did Mickey Mouse Review close? That was the first thing to go. It was like early 80s, I think, right? Or
Yeah. It might have
that
been
would
prior to 85 though.
I
So,
think it was. I'd want to go see that. So maybe like 1980 if it was still operating. Be a
yeah.
good get the best of everything
Get
just for Magic Kingdom.
get Big Thunder when it was brand new and shiny.
Right. See if it was smooth back then or not. I don't know. All right, so let's get back to yours. Another thing,
Oh, yeah,
another
you haven't
reason.
finished it at all.
Yeah. Another reason for you is Polynesian in its prime. Prices were very reasonable, allowing him to savor nostalgia without breaking the bank. Okay. Um, um,
It
it
kind of
says,
depends.
yeah, it says there was no paper fast passes until 1999, but in 93, the lines weren't yet overwhelmed by massive crowds.
Depending on when you went.
Yeah. Perfect for a guy who would rather take his time and soak up the vibe. Is that are you a
Guess that's me.
take your time and soak up the vibe kind of guy?
Although I haven't really, there's been plenty of times in which I haven't um, traveled or gone to the parks with that attitude by for sure. But
So here are your must do's. Stay at the Polynesian. You
okay,
must ride, which I literally just said all this Horizons, Journey to Imagination, World of Motion, and Spaceship Earth. So basically Epcot, every old Epcot attraction.
yeah,
And it says restaurants you should go to Coral Reef, Kona Cafe, and the
did
original
Carl?
Epcot spots.
Yeah, I guess Coral Reef has had the same name since its inception, hasn't it?
That's what I was thinking. It was like, yeah,
Well,
when the
I
seas
think it
opened in
has.
what 87, right? 80, something like
It
that.
had a
86,
restaurant, but I'm trying to
87.
think if they ever changed the
87.
name of it. Living Seas would have had it would still had the hydrolators and all that stuff too
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
Heck,
honestly,
the
yeah,
hydrolators didn't go away to like '01 or '02.
yeah,
I don't think.
right. So 93 is like the very tail end of original Epcot, right? Everything changed in 94. Or a
94 is when
lot.
they started.
Right.
You
Watch.
still well the things that changed starting in that time frame, the one of the most notable, I think, by the time 94 comes around is Kitchen Cabaret has changed to Food Rocks. Listen to the Land has
Right.
changed to Living with the Land. So the Land has the
Mhm.
first changes that take place.
Yep.
I can't remember if Energy had started with Ellen yet or not. It was not long after. Like they started making these changes.
And of course, World of Motion closing.
Yeah, I feel like the 94 was the beginning of the end
Right.
of old Epcot,
Of
so to
what
speak.
Epcot originally was. Yeah.
Yes, it was the beginning of the
Mm,
end. It started with the land. They overhauled the land to pretty much what we see today, with the exception of Food Rocks has now gone through
yeah.
uh, the change to be Soren. But
Right. Big change there.
yeah,
So it says, enjoy a quiet stroll around World Showcase Lagoon without overwhelming crowds. That's what you should do. That was the other suggestion for
ride
you.
the omnibus.
There you go. I
I
wonder when they
was
stopped
pretty
doing
sure it
that.
was. Well, it may not.
Um,
It may have already been out of commission by '93, but I didn't
I
think it was.
remember
I thought it was still
seeing
working.
them. I have
Yeah,
memories of seeing them, but I don't know how old I was at the time. So
right.
sometime between 86 and 94 probably stopped.
Hmm.
Who knows?
See, my true idea of like Epcot probably involves a mixture of the present and the past. To be honest,
Yeah.
We might could do that as a topic one day, like, which parts would you take from the past? Which parts would you or have we done that once? I think we've done something similar.
Yeah, we've toyed
Like,
around deciding.
what's your perfect Epcot or your perfect of each one,
Yeah.
including past and present? What would you bring back? What would you keep?
Yeah, if you well, honestly, well, just to answer that really quick, I might bring back World of Motion over Test Track.
Well, they're bringing back a hybrid now. We don't know.
Right, who knows? Or yeah, we'll see what they do. So I'll hold my judgment for that. But of course, Horizon's got to come back. But I would keep Guardians, of course, and get rid of
Mhm.
Energy.
Even the dinosaurs?
I would get rid of the Sea with Nemo for sure,
And
and
put
go
it back
back to
to
the
the way it
original.
was?
Yeah, because that's way better than what it is now.
Here's one that's kind of,
Imagination too, of course.
like,
Baby.
here's one that's kind of yeah, the imagination is a definite. Here's one that's kind of conflicting. What about the land? What about living with the land versus listen to the land?
That's a good question because I don't remember much
They're both
about
good.
Listen to the Land. I know they used to have a cast member sitting there too.
Yeah, they're both basically the same attraction with the exception of the name and the music. It's
Yeah.
pretty much the same attraction.
I do love the music of the current one, honestly. So I'd probably keep the current day version.
I
Although
see.
the old song's classic, but I mean, it is very 80s.
Just make believe
Yeah,
you're a tiny little seed.
exactly.
Anyway,
I do like the song, but I like the music that they have now. It's very cool.
and between Kitchen Cabaret, Food Rocks, and Soren, which one do you choose? Actually,
I
two
do,
versions of Soren.
right. Ooh. Well, honestly, as much as I kind of never thought I would say this, I think the current version of Soarin', I'd probably just keep Soarin' over the world.
Hmm.
Because California, when I saw it last time, when they brought it back, I was like, yeah, okay, it's fine. But in Epcot, it feels odd to be Soarin' over California. So,
I think the original Soren over California, what gets most people is the music anyway. I think
yeah.
that just that theme.
Yeah, the original one.
Yeah, even though they keep kind of the
Fantastic.
same theme, they do toy with it, of course, for around the world.
Right.
So
Yeah, they changed it a little bit. Agreed. The
I
original
think the
soundtrack is
original
better.
soundtrack cannot be beat.
Yeah. I listened to it in the car this morning, actually. So,
Did you? Yeah.
yeah. I had a Disney playlist going.
So obviously that still beats out, say, Kitchen Cabaret. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Kitchen Cabaret.
Yeah.
I know my mom had the, plush, like the broccoli and some other I don't know what happened to him.
I kind of like some of the things around Food Rocks. I was like, when I looked at it, I'm like, man, some of the stuff that they replaced it with was just really cheap.
Yeah,
So they did some of the animatronics for Food Rocks was just really cheap
yeah,
in comparison. Like they were almost like cardboard. You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
like
it
cardboard.
wasn't
Like
good.
they were very flat. Some of them were.
Yeah,
It wasn't like full on traditional animatronics. It didn't seem
right.
like.
And
But
one thing it didn't say, in '93, you'd have Wonders of Life Pavilion too to
oh
go
yeah, because
into.
they came there in '89, so you would have still had
Yeah,
it. Yep.
and, of course, you would have MGM Studios, but it wouldn't at least you'd have Great Movie Ride to go do
You'd have
in
great movie
'93,
rides. You'd
but
still have the backlot tour. You would have still have
Star
animation, the
Tours,
Disney's. You would already have Star Tours.
original Star Tours.
You would have Muppets.
Indiana Jones Stunt Show still.
Yep, you still have
Yeah.
the stunt show. You just wouldn't have Tower of Terror or Rockin'.
Yeah. Or, of course, what we have today, Galaxy's Edge or Toy Story Land or any of
I
that, of
think you
course.
still have Monster Sound Show in '93 too.
Sounds dangerous. When did that debut?
I don't think it was '93. I think it was came later because Drew Carey wasn't
Yeah.
even really a
I seen
success
him
until
until
like
then.
mid '90s, late '90s.
Right, right. All right, so quickly, there's a few questions to ponder while we think through this.
Okay.
So if you went back to your chosen year or the year it chose you, which might have been the same, would you approach touring the parks differently knowing what you know today?
Well, there would have to be some differences because in my particular case, there wasn't the fourth gate.
Hmm. Right.
There was only 3. So that would change the planning to some degree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely be doing it there because I wouldn't have to get up early if I didn't want to, and I wouldn't have to get on my phone, and yeah, I would just
Right.
be able to
You
just
wouldn't have
go.
a phone.
Right, there would be no phone.
Right, if you showed up in '93 with your phone, dude, what the heck?
They know I was time traveler.
Right.
Uh,
Like, what
yeah,
is that thing? You can watch TV on this little square thing? Like, what the heck? That's
right.
crazy.
It's like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, there's no tap point. Oh,
Right. Where's this thing
there's a
plug in?
turnstile,
Yeah. What does
paper ticket,
USB mean?
return stamps.
Yeah, that's right. You used to get that invisible stamp on your
Those
yeah.
were cool though, because you could like go in Peter Pan and you'd see them show
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I just get on the black
You could
light.
look at them, look at the yeah, you
Like,
could
what
look
the
at
heck?
what you got
Yeah,
stamped with.
right. That was
They had
fun.
a smell too. I can remember the smell
Yeah.
those ink stamps had. It might have been
I think
bad for us for all I know. I don't
yeah.
know, but
Right. Who knows? Possibly.
uh, that's
Good old days. Yeah, if I went back into 2000, I would definitely run and get fast passes.
you would
Yeah.
see. They were they weren't that necessary even in 2000 though. They really weren't.
Yeah, no, it depends on when you went, yeah. But I would still want to just because it'd be like, "Oh, this is cool." I'd probably
I
still
got a
do it.
paper fast pass from this machine.
Exactly.
Well,
That'd
they
be
had a
fun.
time limit on how you did that too.
Mhm. You
I
had a
can't
window
remember
to
how
come
it
back.
went. I can't remember. Well, I know they had the one where you come back, but like you couldn't just like go here and get one and then run to another
Yeah.
station and get another
I
one.
I
Like
think there was,
they
like, a
limit
few
you
hours or
somehow.
something. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
you
can't
couldn't
remember.
get
There was a
another
window.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to look that up to see how that went.
Yeah, yeah.
During the time period for you, they had a
Hmm.
thing called E-Ride.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. You could pay to do all the e-tickets or something, what'd you say? Or no, that was
Yeah,
as after hours,
well,
right?
that's what eventually became After Hours.
Yeah.
That's where it originated from, but they had a thing called E-Ride Night where they basically took all the E-Ride ticket attractions that were still gonna be open after the park normally would close.
And then you could
And the extra price was only like $15, I think, something like that. It was, if I remember right. It
crazy.
was not that much. But yeah,
I wonder how many people paid for it then, back then.
probably not as many. It was probably pretty empty.
That's crazy. Wow. All right. Debate the pros and cons of planning versus spontaneity. So, what's better given each of our time frames?
What's better?
Well, let's see. So you're probably the more spontaneity, your time frame. I'm probably a
Yeah, I
little bit
literally
more
have
planning, and Jason's
for the
is
time.
kind of like,
Yeah, I was saying
man,
we can actually. It's kind of funny. We actually had like 3 different eras, kind of, because mine kind of encompassed almost everything from the beginning, and yours kind of encompassed the next phase, and then
yeah,
Jason's was the phase that we just got out of.
right, pre-COVID,
So
like
yeah,
right at the end of pre-COVID, which was also another 2019 was a great era, like the
it was
end
a
of a
good
great era.
year.
Yeah, a lot of new stuff coming out and a lot of stuff to look forward to that COVID kind of destroyed. But anyway, talk about one thing from your ideal year that you would bring back today. I think I already know
Just
the
one
answer.
thing.
Yeah. Or no, maybe more than one, but
Well, we're gonna have to answer for Jason. FastPass Plus, maybe.
right.
Would
I
that be
think
his
that'd
big?
be
Would that be his first thing?
probably the prices
Um,
from I could bring back anything. I'd bring the 93 prices to
Because
today.
let's be honest. Because let's be honest, from 2019, there's a lot of stuff that's still there. So but just about the only thing that's gone away is FastPass Plus from
That's
that time
true.
period.
Yeah. There's a few things that have closed, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I
From
mean, Horizons is the obvious one, right? For your era. Could bring if you could
if it
bring
was
it
just gonna
to
take one thing to bring back, yeah.
so FastPass Plus from 2019, we're bringing it back to today. Horizons from 93. From the year 2000, what would we want to bring back?
You tell me. It was your year.
I'm
You're
thinking
the host for you.
the Millennium Celebration,
Um, let's see.
not the paper Fast Passes. I think I'd prefer FastPass Plus over paper Fast Passes, but
Yeah.
I mean, Rock and Roller Coaster and Tire Tour, but that already exists today, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it still exists for the moment.
Test Track 1.0? Not really.
That would actually, I could actually get on board with that
It's one thing.
because that was my favorite. Oh, I don't know how the new one's going to come out, but that was my favorite of the two that we know so far.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's something else from that era.
Mickey wand hand over the Spaceship Earth?
And no, that was one of the worst things about that time period, to be honest.
Yeah. When did these Sorcerer's Hat show up? That was
It's funny.
mid-2000s, right?
It's funny they chose the year 2000 for you because that is the first year in which the current iteration of Journey into Imagination with Figment debuted.
Mm. Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? It's unlike me.
Disney Quest was there.
To bring that back.
Downtown Disney was there.
Yeah. Pleasure Island, was that still? Yeah. Bring Pleasure Island
I
back.
think it was still there. Yeah, it was definitely still there because that didn't close until like the turn of the next decade, somewhere in that time frame.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to think specifically about, because mine, I think it chose because it's kind of in between. It's almost like it looked at you as more of the nostalgia, liking the past stuff. Jason,
It's
the
funny.
future or current, and me sort of in between is what it seemed like it.
Well, it's funny though because there's only 7 years between my year and your year, but then there's 19 years between Jason's year
Right.
and your year that they chose. So
Right. Interesting. All right. It says, have some fun imagining interactions between yourselves at those different points in history. What advice would you give your past self?
what advice would I give my past self?
Ride Horizons as many times as you can.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Or try a Hoot and Chief thing.
Right. Exactly.
Because apparently there is no cameras on the thing. I thought there
Yeah.
was. I thought there
Yeah.
was cameras on the ride at all times, even back then, but apparently there isn't.
Yeah. Not on that one. There are on plenty of others, but apparently Horizons did not for whatever reason.
Well, actually, I think I think the ones you're thinking of were added later, though. I don't think they had it on a lot of those rides back then. It didn't seem.
Well, yeah, maybe not in the early days. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Because
true.
I've seen a video of a guy doing Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That's another one that would have still been open
Right.
in Magic Kingdom.
But not, it closed in 2099, didn't it, though? For me?
Yes.
Or yeah, 98
Yes.
or 99. So yeah.
Yeah.
Not for me,
No,
but for you.
Pooh was open in your year.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah. And 20,000 Leagues was still there, too. But I remember seeing this
For you.
footage of a guy that had he had one of the lights on his camera. And so he had it off until the point where they turned the corner and then he turned it on. And no one ever said a word. And he turned it back off before they got out the exit of the ride.
Well, yeah, maybe.
So no one ever said a word there. So he had an external light on the entire time he was riding Toad and never got, no one ever got onto him or anything. So I don't think they had them. I think those were type things that was added at a later date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they realize what people do when no one's watching.
Right.
Like, oh boy.
But I think a lot of people during that time era still probably assumed there was something. But Disney obviously had not invested in that at that point. They didn't see a reason, which I guess was true. So
yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And to be fair, Hoot and Chief actually had inside information because it worked for him. But
right. So if you're going in 2000, what advice would I give myself? I just soak it in. Like, it's going to change a lot. Just enjoy what you can while you're there. Yeah.
Wasn't the year 2000 when the Horizons demolition took place?
Yeah, I think so.
Like over that summer.
Yeah, it may have been. Yeah. Is that when they put that sign out about watch this space for new development?
It was like that by the time I got there in September. I know that. So I feel like the demolition took place from spring to summer at some point. I can't remember how many months.
The more I think about it, the more I'm like, I wish they didn't pick 2000 for me, because I feel like, because when did Horizons actually close? 99, 98, 99, right? January of 99 or something?
January of 1999, yes. It basically closed when Test Track opened.
Dang it. Yeah, I'm like, I still would want Horizons, so I'd be really sad to be there in 2000 and not be able to do that. See the building,
Mm-hmm.
or see the
Right.
building get demolished. That would be even worse.
Yeah, it's
So
unfortunate that Horizons doesn't overlap with some of the other things like Rockin', because like Horizons closes in January
6
of
months
'99,
before.
Rockin' opens in July,
Yeah.
right? So none of those cross over.
Oh man, that does stink.
Yeah.
And if I went to 99, say even January of 99, just so I could still do it, I'd still be missing out on Rockin' or some of the other things that are there in 2000. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Catch 22.
Ah. And the FastPass didn't debut until after Horizons had closed. So the
Right.
bigger ones. Dang. Anyway, well, there's no perfect era, obviously.
No, you have to take bits and pieces from each.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was a fun little
Yeah, fun exercise.
exercise.
I
I
guess we
think
call
it
it
picked.
exercise. I don't know.
I think it picked better for you and Jason than it did me, though. Now that I think about it.
Okay, so if it chose a year that you don't think is you, which year do you think you would have chosen? I guessed mine based on what I thought it was doing.
Yeah.
I actually guessed Jason's too based on what I
Yeah.
thought it was doing.
Well, you guessed 2010 for me, which I don't know if I would pick that either to go back to, right? I feel like it would have to be back into the 90s as well because,
Mm-hmm.
like, I remember 2010 not that long ago and not that much has changed to where I'd want to go back.
Yeah, I remember the 99 trip being pretty fun
Yeah.
that I took. I know you went 99, but we did separately.
Right. Yeah. 98 might be
Might
a good year
might have been.
because you'd still have Horizons. Animal Kingdom would open. So if you did like summer of 98, I don't know. You still wouldn't have Rockin' Roller Coaster, but there'd be a few other things that'd be
You'd
interesting.
have the river cruise.
Yeah. Could do some Animal Kingdom stuff that you can't do anymore. But Animal Kingdom was not as thrilling as it is today.
I don't think you'd have had Kali open yet because it opened after the park did. I just can't remember how long after. Because Asia was actually the first expansion, so to speak,
Yeah.
even though it was
Yeah.
very early on.
Right. Just to throw this in at the end, I was also thinking about that. I mentioned in my trip to the Grand Canyon a few weeks ago that the railway does this like Wild West show and whatever, where they do a little
Wild
acting
West.
thing before the train. It had reminded me, and I forgot to mention on the show, of the show they used to do in Frontierland. And I don't know how many
Oh,
years
yeah.
they did it, but we have it on film from 1990 or 89. I mean,
Mm-hmm. That's out there, actually. It's on our channel, I think.
oh, it is yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. So it just reminded me of that because Disney used to do those street performance type stuff. And I wonder
Mm-hmm.
when they
The
stopped doing
Wild
that.
West Stunt Show.
Was that happening in 93? It might have been still by
I think.
then.
I feel like it was. I feel like I remember seeing it because we took a trip in '92, and I feel like I remember seeing it there as well at
Okay.
that point in time.
So
I mean,
maybe.
I don't know why we're wondering about this stuff. I'm sure it's probably right here.
Oh,
in the
it's
Google
documented.
machine. Yeah.
Yes, we could document that. But anyway, I just thought that was cool. It did kind of remind me of that. So there you have it. Anywho, so if you want to learn more about us, like AI probably has learned more than we know ourselves at this point, where can they find us?
Well, we have Facebook, we have X, we have Instagram. That is all at TWTM Podcast. We have a Spreadshirt store in which you can get your exclusive TWTM merchandise. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. And we have a YouTube channel, which you can find the link to that where, Adam?
On our website, which is travelingwiththemouse.com. You can email us, podcast at travelingwiththemouse.com. The links to all of our previous episodes and links to everything is there. So for John, my name is Adam. Thanks for taking a look back with us. And we hope you will join us on our next trip to the future or the past. Maybe.
Or the past.
To the year 2000 or 1993.